this is a building. It's a Florida Atlantic University building. There are several different investigators in here, although locally it's known as the Turtle Lab. And I also have a colleague who works with sharks and rays, and there's some sharks outside, and rays up front. I can show you those. Awesome. And then we also have another colleague who works on the lower part of the food chain, the plants that grow in the estuaries. Very important work, very critical to the health of the water ecosystems around here. Not as exciting to see because you're watching plants grow.
Right.
But very important. This building is one of 3 organizations where I'm part of the university. I'm a professor at the university, and part of my responsibility is making sure that we not only do our work together and are able to do our science, but we also, in that area, have a public outreach component. That's one of the arrangements that the university made. Sure, I have to, but and I take quite seriously. So every year we update our signage if we have something cool going on, or we have some new results. We'll put it up there so people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Very cool. All of my students who come in here and help take care of the turtles are not only trained how to take care of them, they're not we go through a strict warranty. Everything that's in here comes in and has to, before it enters our regular research colony, it has to be eating, swimming, diving, pooping, and not have any lesions. That turns out to be a real big deal. Sometimes, you guys know, reptiles sometimes take a while for infections to show up. This year has been a particularly bad year for infections. We've had record high temperatures and record dry conditions on the beach, which means that we're getting poor hatching sets, and then when the nests, the kids do come out and manage to hatch, they're coming up through dead eggs. So we're getting a lot of turtles this year that we keep in quarantine much longer. Now the turtles directly behind you guys here are loggerheads, and they've been in the lab the longest. So all of the turtles are here for a sex ratio study. You guys who work on reptiles are kind of probably familiar with environmental sex determination.
Right.
It doesn't occur in all reptiles, but it occurs in a significant proportion of the turtles. And one of the things we found is really important to species recovery is knowing why, what the sex ratios are of the populations in different areas. So this year we're focusing on the beach out here and in a beach on the west coast of Florida called Sanibel Island. Sanibel Island, in our previous years, we found a disproportionate number of males hatching over there at what appears to be the same nest temperature as what we have here. So we're really curious about what's going on over there. And we have data loggers in all of the nests that from which we get turtles. So we have temperature, moisture, everything. It ends up being really, really important. We ended up this year documenting far more about the effects of heat than we ever expected to. But that's, serendipity sometimes teaches us a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so these turtles you're looking at are from the middle of the season. The turtles in the middle of the tank will be from the beginning of the season. And these are not quarantine tanks, but because they're big and they're producing so much more fecal material and urine, uric acid, we're keeping them back here where we have higher volumes of water. Now I'm going to take you up to the front where I can show you 2 other species, the other 2 species. And we have big turtles who just came in this week that are in quarantine there.
Those were hatched out and you brought them here?
Yeah, and we have leatherbacks. If you push the world, you'll see leatherbacks. I do need you to pretend like you've been shackled.
Okay.
Leatherbacks are...
Are you listening, guys?
Guys.
Okay, I need you to pretend like you got handcuffs on when you go back by the turtles, because we've discovered that leatherbacks have a very suppressed immune system. They're like little premature babies. when we work with them, we wear gloves, but not to protect us, to protect them.
Yeah.
We go through about $2,000 worth of gloves in a month and a half.
Wow.
And that's and that's because every time we go, between tanks, we change gloves. We feed them 3 times a day. We discovered that they require a very dilute diet. They normally eat jellyfish. When we tried to feed them a more concentrated diet, they have severe health problems. So we've gone back to something closer to what they normally eat. And I make my own jellyfish here. We tried using real jellyfish, and often, because what we get out here has the microbes that grow in a coastal environment, and they're in open ocean going fertile. We found that doesn't work well, because we're bringing in, the jellyfish is kind of like an accumulator of whatever is in the water.
Yeah.
So this species normally goes offshore, stays offshore, and so all of them are on little leashes.
Really?
And that's to keep them from bumping into the side of the tank. They would normally not
Come near anything.
they normally don't see barriers. They don't recognize barriers. And that's really common in a lot of open ocean going species.
Sure.
Like great white sharks and some of the whales and whale sharks and tunas and things like that. So, up this way.
Are we allowed to take pictures?
No hanging over taking
came up
pictures.
with this plan, but pretend like you've been shackled with it. I would never from all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so
Just-
over here are number of different weather backs. The turtles in this portion of the lab are still in quarantine. They hatch much bigger than the other species.
Oh, look at that.
And
You won't see these anywhere in the
That's
world.
something else. That is, now,
that's not at all.
is that like a adhesive, I guess you're saying?
It's
almost-
Adhesive, he said that.
It's like a, on
that's
the back of the,
vet bond and Velcro.
oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Exactly. Yep. Yes, we have to use a a non-toxic. Everything we use is non-toxic. The turtles have to be okay. We can't use anything with pseudoestrogens because we're looking at the sex ratios of these animals. And since they're so young, when we're looking at it, we're identifying the sexes of these animals when they're really, really young. So they constantly swim.
Even tied up like that, they.
Absolutely.
Why are they tied up like that?
Leatherback.
So that because they cannot, if they bump into the walls, they'll abrade their skin. They don't recognize barriers.
They're used to being in the open ocean, so they've never bumped into anything. So their minds don't understand.
Yeah.
What would happen if they were to bump it?
They basically abrade their skin. They abrade their flippers, their noses, and since they have a very suppressed immune system, they get infections. We had one down. It took about 3 days. Same idea, and they do all that. Now, when they're this size, they don't change it very well. They have to be about 100 kilograms before they can change it. And that's just a volume situation. So...
They can actually make it.
Oh, no, they also make it. Just by exercising and by digestion. They make heat, but if you think about us as, we're what we call a homeotherm, and they're a heterotherm. That means we maintain our temperature, and their temperature varies quite a bit. Okay, so guys in the lab, we not only have to keep them under strict quarantine, but we also have to filter the water, chill the water, UV treat the water. If I was rich, I'd ozone treat the water, but I'm not really rich yet, so we slowly but surely put our, and found that, we protein skim. Because our water comes, again, from coastal source, right out here.
So the water is brought in pre-filtered and then put in, or it's just brought in and then filtered while they're in it?
It's filtered in
Pre-filtered first.
It's pre-filtered and then it's circulated and filtered.
So this is a filter?
Yeah, that's a filter, and it goes out to the chiller, and it, because right now I can say it's been an exceptionally hot year. Our water's running about 87 degrees, and these turtles would be out in water it's normally around 75, 74.
So the water comes into the holding tank, you skim it, sterilize it, de-micron or whatever, micron filter it, and then it's put in with them, and then it's run through the filtration. So it's, okay.
They're in the stacks, the loggerheads and the greens, here's some more loggerheads and greens, these are loggerheads, those are greens, those are loggerheads, greens over there. All of those are animals. This side is all on running seawater. This side is all on.
So are they going from pure water then to running seawater and then
These guys are
Yeah, just don't touch anything. Don't even lean on the side.
Somebody's nice enough to
Did you ever think you'd see this morning? Unbelievable. Don't touch anything. The enclosure, nothing. These are a week old?
We have to put 2 baskets in, and they still This nest is a week old.
Those are loggerheads?
These are greens.
Greens.
These are all from the same clutch. These guys are in quarantine. And whenever you see just kind of 10 baskets,
all the same nest?
they're all same nest.
So when you have like separate ones like this is the nest, this is the nest?
Yeah, and
They are so cute.
This is the nest.
These 3 ones are
That is because you have to do the
one more than,
10 per nest.
There's always 10 per nest now?
Yeah, that's what the first nest.
Oh, okay. That's what you take out.
Yeah.
The rest
So
is
the different baskets are just we mark them with the different scoots tell us what clutch, what nest from the beach, which clutch, and which turtle in that clutch. We also photograph them.
So you only take a percentage of what's in
We
the
take
nest?
about 10% of what.
And the rest just goes right out?
The rest the one part of what we're releasing tonight are the turtles we got today.
Okay.
So some of the turtles who are back there came in today. Some of the great turtles came in today, and so what we're going to do is, after we take our tag, we make sure they get out of the beach at the same time, everyone else. So
Oh, that makes
that's
sense.
why when you guys were saying, I told you I thought we had nests hatching, plus my husband also studies behavior of these turtles, so he's doing a study where he's actually going out and collecting from the nest the same night.
Yeah.
And he actually didn't have any tonight, but then between what the park had for, there's also a city park component here, and there's also a rehab facility here.
Do you sleep ever?
Yeah, I'm going to sleep tonight because I teach tomorrow. So,
Wow.
I don't have, my students will tell you I don't allow grass for everybody.
Yeah,
So,
I can tell.
yeah.
So what happens to the 10% you take when you raise them up?
We raise them up, we laparoscopically examine them to tell what they have to be about the size of the palm of my hand.
How old will they be with it?
The turtles coming in now, we'll start doing laparoscopies in about a month.
And what is it?
Laparoscopies, it's like
You know, it's blurry, but look at his little eyes.
Shoulder surgery,
Little
little
camera I need.
yeah, little camera, we can identify the sex of the girl that way. And we're doing it 25 years before they'll show up to them. These guys take about 25 years to grow up. These guys take
Wow.
25 years to grow up. Leather guys take 13 to 15 years. So the reason why it's important to know the sex ratios is because if there's a problem,
Shut this off.
we
It's
don't
on my
have to,
battery.
you know,
I have
we
more
don't have to
batteries
wait
in my purse.
And find out that, yeah. And that's it. And whether you put it like the realm of global warming or just understanding what's a normal sex ratio for this, nobody's ever gone through it systematically. You know, we have a commitment to do 10 years of data collection.
Now, when you do a laparoscopic examination, where are the ports? Where do you go in?
You go in the annual process. In front of the
Behind the hind legs?
In front.